Welcome to Faith Talk. This is Nick and
Jason. Good morning.
good morning. A little housekeeping stuff, of course. Always follow us here on Facebook, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, church website.
Wow, it's a lot of options you're giving them.
Yeah. Just want to make it easy for whoever wants to listen.
And they can also watch our services, right?
Yep. On
Nick
Facebook.
does well with that and capturing our services on Facebook and YouTube. And if you have questions for us here at Faith Talks about how to grow as a disciple or questions on the Bible, we would be delighted to dialogue with you. Or if you'd like to be a guest here on Faith Talks, we would be so glad to have you here.
Yep. You can message us or email us at faithtalksozark@gmail.com.
We got lots of folks all around the community and beyond who watch and listen to our podcast.
Yep.
Today we are very fortunate to have with us an outstanding community leader, Margie Benson. She is a legend around here with the Flower Center. Welcome, Margie.
Thank you for having me.
We're
I
so-
appreciate it. I'm kind of new to podcast.
Well, that's all right. We're glad that you're here.
Okay.
We've been talking about people's faith journey, thinking about Philippians 1:6, about the good work that he started in you, becoming a Christian. He shall carry on, like what's God doing lately, and he shall complete upon the day of Christ Jesus.
Right.
And so tell us something about your own faith journey, Margie. How did you come to know Christ?
Well, that goes back about as far as my memory goes back. I was brought up in the Methodist Church, and as a young child, I can remember going down at a revival and accepting Christ. And then, vivid memory, we were in Selma, Alabama, and I was in a membership class at the Methodist Church, 12-ish, somewhere along that line. And I just sort of worried about how I was baptized. And so, they told me, babies in the Methodist Church are sprinkled and all that. That just didn't sit well with me. For a 12-year-old, that was sort of a strange thing to be thinking about, but I did. It was very important. So I just got myself up and went to the minister and sat down and said, when I joined the Methodist Church, I want to be baptized, not sprinkled. And so he said, oh. And he said, I've never done that before. And I said, well, you are now. And so my family went to the Baptist church and used their, whatever you think it is.
Baptistry.
Thank you. And he immersed me and all that. I think he was a lot more nervous than I was. And anyway, but I can remember coming up out of that water. I mean, I remember that just so vividly, and it was so long ago. But that was very important to me. And I think that was kind of neat for a 12-year-old to think.
That you were that's very much like Margie, isn't it? She's very resolute. We're going to do this.
We're going to do this.
Why we baptize infants?
No.
No, wait a minute. Put me on the spot here. We didn't cover that
Why
question.
do we do that sprinkling?
Why do we do that? We baptize infants. They are initiated into the life of the church, Margie. It is a mark of grace.
Right.
See, this little one that we baptize, he or she will not remember, but their parents and the church will tell them about this.
Right.
Well, no.
Not dedicated?
No. We see this much more than dedication. This little one, we are committing them into the Lord, and the parents to raise them. And then during confirmation, see, we see it like two halves.
Right.
And then in confirmation, they'll have the opportunity to make their own decision for Christ.
But not about baptism. Because
right.
we want.
Because they've already been baptized
They've already
once,
been baptized, but
and
see,
we don't
I didn't have a choice about that.
Right, exactly. Then, right. So you're the exception to the rule, because generally we
Nobody questions it.
Exactly. We don't rebaptize unless you're Margie.
I questioned.
Yeah, that's good.
Wait a minute, I didn't make that decision, but why I would do that at such a young age, I have No idea.
Well, that would set you up for things to
That
come.
would set me up, I guess, because God and my Lord Jesus Christ have been right with me my whole life. And life has been good on the most part, but there have been some very down times and sad times. But Jesus was right there with me, brought me through it all. I think there were times that I could have died, but I didn't. And because I think maybe there was a purpose for me being here. One thing, because a lot of my adult life has been spent with young people in theater. So I was a lot younger than I am now, and I was teaching art in Ozark at Mixon School. And I was not from Ozark. I'm from Alabama. But we had moved to Ozark because of jobs, and I was teaching art. And I didn't know the administration that well at all, but Thomas Harrison was the principal at Carroll High School. He called me and said, I want you to teach art at the high school. Well, I had a couple of years in Phoenix City, Alabama, teaching high school kids, and that's my favorite group. I love all young people, but I love the age of high school because there's so much talent there, and like in art or theater or whatever, if you just try to drag it out of them. But I was excited about going to the high school and teaching art. But he said, I want to meet with you before you start. So I had a meeting with him set up in the summer, and I go in there. Of course, I'm on time, and I sit down, and I'm gung-ho. And he said, there's a little something I left out. And I said, uh-huh. And he said, the superintendent, which was Dr. Pete Mosley, which later became a very good friend of mine, but at that time, I didn't know them, and we want you to take over the theater program. And I said, me? And he said, yes, we do. And I said, I can't do that because I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything. And he said, you're going to do it. So I thought my job depended on it. So I really think that God was, right there with me, and that was a plan because it became such an important part of my life, and working with that aged children and younger children in summer theater. But it just led to a lot of things where, maybe I could have affected some kids' lives and given them a voice. Athletics is not meant for everyone, and so kids need a place to fit, and they need a place to have a voice and confidence. I think theater teaches all of them that. Very few will go on to do anything else, but in any job, that type thing can help them. And I've had so many young people get in touch with me in later life to tell me they could have never done this if I hadn't taught them to get up on that stage and have their voice. So I think that's where I was supposed to be.
Well, I would agree. You're a force to be reckoned with, Margie. You can't tell no. Anyone she's ever asked to be at a play. How long have you been doing theater?
Since 1983.
A long time.
You probably aren't that old.
Yes, I am. I graduated from high school in 84.
Oh, okay. Well, you would have had me 1 year.
So how many plays do you think you've done?
Oh, goodness. I don't, because I went then when we started that, the high school, well, we didn't start the high school program. It had been started 2 or 3 years, but their director had left and moved or something. And so I went in, and then after a couple years, I figured out the program was so big at that time. Times have changed. But at that time, we had probably, when I first started, about 80 kids in a play. But then it grew to like over 100, and there was just nothing, nowhere. So I started my journey of getting a place for kids to be able to perform. And so we started Flowers 40 years ago this year.
Wow.
1986, our first play.
That is tremendous, and it's a tremendous asset for our community. You've done so many plays, and you're so gifted in being organized and seeing it and pulling it together. I know personally. Well, I didn't say that. I was in a play. I was the priest in Nonsense,
yes,
and they were saying that maybe Margie would behave better when I was there.
Well,
No.
Somewhat. They think that she did. I don't know if she did. But right now, that they're working for this play that you're doing, Joseph, in the Technicolored. Amazing Technicolor, right? Amazing Technicolor. Tell us about who's Joseph, and tell us about the play, and how does your faith inform directing this play?
Well, sometimes they may get a little mad at me, Jesus and God, but because
why do you think they get mad at you?
Because I lose. I get mad with them when they don't do what I tell them to do. But it's all for the common good, and also I love those kids. They don't know that sometimes, but I do. I wouldn't be there if I didn't. But David Sewell was one of my kids that did decide to venture out after high school, and he majored in theater at Troy University. And after he graduated, he decided to make that jump to New York. So for over 10 years, I'm not sure, about 15 years, he was in Broadway. He did commercials, all that you do when you're in New York, trying to overcome that there's millions up there trying for the same thing. But he did well, and he met a young lady that he married there, and they have a little girl that is starstruck. And so he decided he needed to get a job with regular pay. So he went in, because all actors are normally waiters. So he was too, but he got interested in the restaurant business, and so that's what he's in now. He's done very well. And he told me in fact, it was about the time of COVID, right before that hit, he got with me and told me that he wanted to come back and help raise money for Flowers. And so we planned it one of the years of COVID that didn't work out, and so put it on hold. And so this last summer he came, and we planned, and we had to decide on something that would maybe have a message to it, and also be short enough that we could pull this off in the time he could be here, because he's only been here, he'll be here 2 weeks when it's over. That's not easy. And so we have a cast of about 40, and they're 95% of them are all alumni of the Flowers stage. Now, that doesn't mean they had me for a teacher, but they had me for a production at Flowers. And because we go from the age of about the 3rd grade all the way up to pretty old, about 90. And so we have a large group of different assorted ages that have all had experience on the Flowers stage. So we had to pick a play that was even humanly possible. And Joseph is only in length about an hour, less than an hour and 20 minutes, and not the normal 2 hours and something. We don't have an intermission, and but you won't want to have an intermission. You're going to be so entertained. But the story of Joseph, I watched the kids. The play is the story of Joseph being told to children, and like in a school. So we set up a little tiny school that the children are in, and then the narrator, which there's a narrator, she graduated in the 90s, Katie, and she used to be Katie Walker, and she is a narrator and tells the story to the children of Joseph. And Joseph, I first said to Jason, he's a dreamer. I'm a dreamer of trying to get a place to perform and keep it going and all that stuff. But Joseph, the story is so neat about how his brothers sold him off, and then he became, because he could interpret dreams, he found much favor in the Pharaoh's life. And so the Pharaoh, lifted him up he became wealthy. And his brothers, they had thrown him away and thought he was dead, killed him, were starving. Frank Carroll has a great role of Jacob. And he said, nobody comes to visit anymore, but we'd probably eat them anyway. And so they were very poor, no food. So they journey off to Egypt and find, they did not recognize him. You know the story. But anyway, but the thing about that Joseph, when he saw that they defended Benjamin and took care of each other, that they had changed and they had become very good people. And so he let them know that it was him and that he forgave them and they forgave him. And so it just has such a good outcome that he had such faith in God and they did, and that they all got back together then. And it gives, as many times as I've sat there and watched that thing, when all of that happens and they recognize Joseph, and of course he knew who they were, but it just makes chills go down your arms. And this play is written by Andrew Lloyd Webber and the music by Tim Rice, and they wrote The Phantom of the Opera and Cats. It's all done in music, but you never get bored for 1 second. The way that they integrate the story with updated times, and when there's a calypso song and there's a country music song, and you just love it. It's just one of the best I don't want to say that about our production. The play is one of my very favorites, and the music is wonderful.
I'm looking forward to it. I've seen it before, Alabama Shakespeare Festival, and it was marvelous. Mm-hmm. And the story of Joseph is such a redemptive story, mm-hmm. that what the brothers did was evil, but God used it for good. God used it for good.
What if they had not sold Joseph off?
Right.
There you go.
That God, he was
knew
working.
better than us.
Yes, God knew so much better than we know. And the providence, the scandalous providence of God. Mm-hmm. And what a wonder. God is working in ways in which we have no idea.
And I think that
that's the story of Joseph.
I think that was me sitting in that principal's office that
mm-hmm. day
and going, no way. But, I think it came about because that was God's plan. But that's right. It's such a great story. And I started out, I wander around when I'm talking, but I started out telling you about the children. They have to sit in a little schoolroom. They can't scratch their heads. They can't
pick their nose.
And children will do that. And they can't chew gum. And they have to sit there, but every night, once it starts, they've seen it many times, but they sit there and they're just, I think live theater is wonderful for children, but with this story, they are just all, and one of the little ones, he's probably maybe a second grader, his favorite character is Potiphar, that had Joseph as he was worked for him like in his household. And Potiphar is Lou Henny's.
I know.
Lou is 90, and he does so good. And Lou's a performer. Mm-hmm. And but one of Potiphar's things that he says or does, this little boy went home and said, I love that line. And so he learned the line, and he can say all the lines from the characters, but,
And there's such an intriguing fascination with Joseph, because a lot of times people think that, if we just do the right thing,
right,
that God will bless. And here, Joseph, he was trying to do the right thing, and it asks us the question, are you seeking God's face? Are you seeking God's favor? What do you want here? And Joseph, he was willing, to do, to sacrifice and to be willing to suffer, even when he could not understand. He did the right thing, and he was still thrown in prison. And then the one did not remember whom he translated the dreams. It's just really an intriguing story.
Such one of my favorite stories from the Bible. And I'll tell you, I was reading several years ago, I was in the Bible, I was reading the story of Joseph, and it's amazing how this story, was written straight from the Bible, the same lines, it's amazing. And they did such a great job with it. And it wasn't intended to be a Broadway play, but it was so popular that they did put it on Broadway. Donny Osmond played the part of Joseph, and then it just became real well known, and lots of schools and community groups do, like Shakespeare does the story of Joseph. We don't have the money or the funds to like Shakespeare, but we've Tony England, who is one of I'll say that I don't know that I look old enough to teach Tony, but he's very gray, but I guess I did. He didn't graduate till the 90s, and so but we've got them all the way back to the 80s where I started. But Tony has helped us tremendously with sets, and David has worked his whole time here on set stuff. They're okay, but we don't have a lot of funding to put in all that, because we want the funding for our new bathrooms at Flowers.
Tell us, where can we get tickets, and what time it starts, and what are the things we need to know, Margie?
You can go on Facebook, and you can put in Wish Upon a Star, and that will take you, or you can put in my name, either one, and you'll see an ad about this play, Joseph, and the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and there'll be I don't know what you call it, a site or a little code thing you can put in there to buy tickets online. I don't know the terminology for this stuff, but anyway, or you can put it in your search engine, I guess, hour.show/Joseph/wish upon. So hour.show/Joseph/wish upon. And that hopefully will take you right there. If you put it in yourself and it doesn't, go to Facebook and go on Wish Upon a Stars, and it'll be in blue where you just hit that and it'll take you to tickets. The shows are Thursday night and Saturday night. We had to leave our Friday night, Saturday usual combination because Ozark has a celebration planned with fireworks and all that, so we didn't want to compete against that. So we're on Thursday night.
What time is it, Margie?
7 o'clock. 7 o'clock, but if you want to buy tickets at the door, regretfully, we have tickets at the door, and that didn't used to ever happen. See, times have changed.
Margie, we want to be positive. It's going to be great.
But whatever.
You can only be controlling of so many things. If you're faithful, they will come.
We had a rainbow over Flowers this week, so it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
But you can buy them at the door, and the ticket will be on sale as 6 o'clock. You can come at 6 o'clock and purchase tickets. The doors will be open. You can't get in the theater till 6:30.
6:30.
But 6 o'clock the doors will open.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Are you going, Nick?
And we need to tell them about the budget. How much we got to raise. What do
I don't know
y'all
if we
think?
have. I don't know if we have time for that.
Did you?
I'm only kidding.
We're trying
Well,
to
since
raise.
the cat's out of the
I
bag.
know. Yeah.
See how she slid that one in
I
there?
know she did, didn't she, Dick?
We're trying to raise $40,000 to do new bathrooms, in the where the public goes to the bathroom, where the kids, they'll use those bathrooms too. But the men's and ladies' bathrooms have not been refurbished for 40 years, so they're pretty bad. But we're trying to raise $40,000, and we're kind of about halfway there, and so we got a goal. And if you would like to bring a check, we're trying to get away from cash as the world is. It gets lost and stuff. But anyway, if you can bring a check, or I do, is it Venmo? I do that too. But bring a check and make the check out to the Dale County Performing Arts Council. Dale County Performing Arts Council, for whatever amount you would like to contribute to those bathrooms, and we will have somebody taking it up, because we're trying to get to 40,000.
Well,
Or
thank
if you
you.
want
Yes.
to mail the church that a check, you can do that too, to Jason.
Just designate it for the bathrooms.
Yes.
Bathrooms, not Jason.
That's right. Jason's bathroom.
We could put your name on it if you raise it up.
There you go.
No. But thank you, Margie, for all that
Yes.
you do for the Flower Center and for theater, for our community. You are a force to be reckoned with, and appreciate your tireless efforts.
Thank you for letting me, my first podcast.
It
There
wasn't so
you
bad,
go.
was it?
No.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. Looking forward to. I'll be there on Saturday.
With his girlfriend.
She wanted to say that.
I got to say that.
You're right. Yes, I'll look forward to it. Well, thank you for being with us today, Margie. Thank you for watching Faith Talks.
Thank you.